Hi everyone, welcome back. For today's set, we're going to be playing with some brand new colors from Fairy Glamour. We're going to be doing like an autumn's night kind of style mani based on the colors that we're going to be pulling in today. We're going to do it on a set of press-ons on the shape short coffin, and then we are going to be using dip liquids for this set to start out with. And then the first color we're going in with is called Bronze Babe. We're going to give it a good stir, and this is a solid color. It does not have any shimmer in it or anything like that. But before we get into dipping, I want to do a little bit of color blocking here. So I am throwing in some of that 3M medical tape here on one of the nails. This is the middle nail, and we're going to pair it with the color, the Bronze Babe, that we're going to be using in just a few moments. And then we're going to tie it into a really fun glitter. So right now, I'm doing a very thin layer of that dip base over the entire nail. I like to start right below that cuticle line and work that product all the way down, and then work the dip base all the way up to the cuticle to prevent flooding. And that's key when you're making press-ons as well. And then I'm dipping right into that jar today. If you want a little bit more wiggle room, you definitely can go ahead and dump the powders into a cupcake liner. And then I just press everything down. And I'm already just like right off the bat, this color, it's gorgeous. It's great for fall. And the coverage is definitely there. I'm loving the first coat already. It's not patchy. It's super finely milled. I don't show like any like white spots in it or anything like that. I am getting true full coverage with that first dip, and I really love this color. You can definitely build it up. Today we are going to do 2 coats so you can really see that color payoff here. I really loved how it's still like this, like it's giving me kind of like those like light brown leaves, but yet it's still pulling in a little bit of like a chestnutty color. I really like this. I feel like it has maybe a slight gray undertone to it, but it's super pretty. And if you are somebody who likes browns or more of like the nude color family, this is going to be for you because it's not like that rich, harsh, dark brown color. It's very forgiving and it's more on that neutral side. And I love the coverage so much. So we went ahead and pressed everything down, dusting off, and here's that color. You can definitely build it up if you want, but I am loving the coverage and the color that we're getting with 2 dips. So that is the game plan for today. We're going to be doing 2 dips of each color that you see here. So now when it comes to the color blocking nail, I'm just carefully applying that dip base right below that tape. If you do get a little bit of dip base on that tape, it is okay. This is a medical grade tape, so it does have a little bit of a protective barrier from like any liquids, which I do love that about this tape. Plus this tape is super easy to remove, and it just gives me the most cleanest lines ever. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be pairing the color that we're using right now with a really fun glitter. Now, when I was looking at this color palette here, the colors from this new collection are so fun, and they're perfect for just like dabbling into fall. I just feel like the color combination and just like the color palette of this doesn't necessarily like scream fall, but you can definitely take different combinations of this new collection and kind of piece them together to create fall elements, which I love that about a collection because you're going to be able to get tons of different use from it. So the colors that we're using today were speaking to me of like a autumn night, kind of just like that crisp cold air. You're going to see what I'm talking about here when this set comes all together. But that was the color scheme that I picked today to kind of just do like an autumn kind of night. But these colors right here are so fun to work with. Now this Bronze Babe, it's super buttery, it's velvety. The best part about these dip powders is that you can use them with the gel method, you can use them with the dip liquids like we're using right now, or you can use monomer, and these work amazing with monomer. So just keep that in mind if you are a nail tech or if you are just trying to start dabbling into monomer. These work great with that. I haven't really touched base with monomer. To be honest with you, it kind of scares me, but yet is very satisfying to watch. But if that is something that's up your alley or you're looking to give it a try, these dip powders from Fairy Glamour work great with all 3 combinations. So we are diving into the next color here. And let me tell you, the coverage does not disappoint. The color does not disappoint. So you have like this really beautiful, just rich, dark blue, but it's still pulling in that perfect like pop of brightness. And then you have these gorgeous flakes. They're kind of giving like iridescent opal, And there's just something about this blue with these opal flakes because the way the color just like hits, or I'm sorry, the light hits those flakes, is just pulling in all these different pops of color. And I'm loving it. It's giving me like the autumn night sky, or just like autumn when the moonlight is hitting the trees, and then those little flakes are kind of like the trees or the leaves glistening in the light. Oh, I just love it so much. It's beautiful. I feel like, yes, we are using this for like a fall kind of element, but this would be beautiful in wintertime for an all over set. I just feel like this is like that perfect, just like blue iciness that you could definitely rock for wintertime. And I feel like this would look great paired in the summertime as well. We have no staining on that brush either, which I'm loving that when it comes to this blue, because a lot of times when you are working with like this kind of dark color, you do get brush staining. But back to this color here, pairing it for summer, I feel like this would look amazing paired with some like vibrant colors, like some really beautiful bright neon pinks and purples and oranges. I feel like you're going to be able to do a lot with this color, and it's really, really easy to work with. These flakes are just melting down into that dip base and becoming one with the nail, and it's also giving the nail a really awesome dimension. And again, when that light hits these flakes, it is just everything. Let me tell you, it's just so beautiful just seeing like that color shift. It kind of is like a chameleon kind of flake, if that makes sense, but super beautiful. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this orange wood stick here and just remove some of those flakies that are underneath this nail. And I like to do that and spend a lot of time making sure the underneath side of that nail is clean, especially before we go in with that activator, because it's going to help cut down our filing and buffing if we target those areas before we go in with the activator. And then if you are having some stubborn flakes that are not easily removed by that orange wood stick, you could just always use your file as well and just gently focus on those areas underneath that nail. So I am making a set of press-ons today, and if you are curious how I apply my press-ons, I just use a little bit of dip base. I apply dip base directly to my natural nail and a little bit of dip base, just a tiny, tiny bit on the back of that press-on, and then I go ahead and apply that nail, and when it is exactly where I want it, I hold it down for a full 30 seconds. I can get about 2 weeks wear with that method, and if I'm looking for like a shorter turnaround time, like a few days, I will go ahead and slap on a whole bunch of peel base. I use the UNT peel base. I feel like that one is the most effective for me, but peel base is like a whole rabbit hole on its own. You really got to take that time to find what peel base works for you and how much of that peel base product you need to use that would work for you. So that's like a whole nother animal. But how gorgeous is this color? It is everything. And you can really see the color difference of the 2 dips versus 1. That second dip is just pulling in a little more darker, but absolutely stunning. So we're gonna go ahead and finish up this nail here. We're just doing a very thin layer of that dip base, and then I'm gonna work that product all the way up to the cuticle line there, just to make sure we have even coverage. And I'm doing a very thin layer. Again, I know I touched base on these liquids in my last video. The consistency of your liquids when you're making press-ons is definitely key, because the thinner the viscosity is, the thinner the layers are going to be, and then you're going to cut down on that bulk factor. Also, me right here pressing everything down in between each dip, just making sure I am keeping that shape of the nail. That is also important when you're making press-ons. I can't stress that enough. Just taking that extra step, just making sure everything is completely flat before you move on to that next nail or before you move on to that second dip is definitely key when you are creating press-ons. So now we're just going back in and cleaning up underneath that nail here with that orange wood stick here, removing any of those extra flakies. But how beautiful are these flakes? It's definitely giving me like this beautiful like blue sapphire kind of effect. Super pretty, and I feel like this color right here also really complements that neutral brown that we use. It's just really beautiful. I just feel like this dark blue and that brown just like scream fall. And then we're gonna throw in a really fun glitter here. So what I'm doing now is I'm applying a little bit of dip base to that nail, because I wanted to add more of those fun flakes to this nail, just to kind of fill in some bare spots. This is a total optional step here. I will say I did get great coverage going into this dip, but I just wanted just a few extra pops of that beautiful opal flakiness. So that's exactly what we did. We hand placed some and then we pressed them down. And now there's no bare spots on this nail and everything is looking fantastic. So now we're moving in to AQUAHOLIC, which is such a fun glitter. It is kind of like a chunky, finer glitter mix. It's really fun. It pulls in tons of different colors and you can pair this with so many different things. Definitely think that this glitter right here, options are gonna be endless with this one because you're gonna be able to use so many different colors when it comes to this glitter right here. And I just felt like it just pulled in just a little bit of pop of color that was not your like traditional fall colors, but yet it's still giving me like those autumn sky colors. In the fall time here in Wisconsin, during like September right now, and in the first beginning of October, we get like these beautiful sunsets of just pinks, oranges, and blues. And this right here, glitter, kind of took me to that place. So that's where I was pulling in kind of like that autumn nights kind of style is what I envisioned when I was playing with these colors. And I will say that this glitter right here, the first time around, I picked up some of those finer glitters. I didn't pick up too much of those chunkier glitters. You could take that jar and kind of like shimmy it to pull more of those bigger pieces up if that's something that you wanted to target, would be more of those bigger pieces. But I really liked how this nail looks here with like that more of like sporadicness of the larger glitters. And then we still have like this really gorgeous kind of shimmery base pulling through. And then we have some of those smaller glitters. I really like the dimension of how the layering of the glitters look on this between the small and the large. So I did not want to just like focus on one size glitter. I really like the ratio of this powder right here, and it's really easy to work with. Sometimes when you're working with a chunky glitter, it can be very intimidating. If you have any glitters that are kind of like stacked up on top of each other, just go ahead and move those away with an orange wood stick. That's going to save you all the difference in just the hassle when it comes time to filing and buffing. And if you do go ahead and clear encapsulate and you still have like that bumpiness with that glitter, you can risk cutting into that glitter during filing and buffing. So just take that extra step. So now we're going to hand place some glitters here. I'm only hand placing, I think like maybe one or two of those larger pieces. And then I'm going to focus on the colored pieces of the smaller glitter. The colored pieces of the smaller glitter they're just so pretty. They're like this really beautiful turquoise color and blues. So I really wanted to focus on those colors to just really tie in just like the accent of that blue base that we just used on that other powder. So now that that dip base is drying, we're gonna go ahead and remove the color blocking tape here. This is a very satisfying moment peeling off this tape, and make sure you peel off really slow so you do not risk ripping that tape or getting that tape into that line. Just peel it off really slow. And here's what we're working with here. It is definitely pretty straight. I'm just going to clean it up ever so slightly here before we go in with that glitter with a file, and I'm just ever so gentle, just like filing right above that line there just to make sure everything is even. And then after we go ahead and dip this nail, we are going to add a little bit of a color blocking accent to this nail, kind of just really just to emphasize the color blocking today. We're going to go ahead and enhance it by adding some gold striping tape stickers, which are so fun to use and really easy to add in to incorporate into any style mani. So we are dipping in here, and now we're just going to go ahead and press everything down. I will say this color right here, that bronze babe with this glitter, it is just really fun, and I love it. It's not something you normally would pair together, but it definitely works so well. And I love just like the colorful pops of glitter in here, because if you look at the nail stand right now, you can see how the light's hitting the beautiful blue color that we used with those flakes, and it's kind of just like reflecting perfectly to just really just like incorporate the glitters that we're using right now with the AQUAHOLIC glitter. So it just really just goes hand in hand together, and it's just so fun to just incorporate different elements from the chunky glitter and the flakes to just get that extra pop of dimension, but so fun. And I will say I am loving the coverage of all three of these powders right now. So right here, you can see here I have a huge clump of glitters. I'm gonna go ahead and just gently work those away. You can use your orange wood stick, you can use your finger, whatever you need to do to kind of just like separate that cluster. It's gonna save you all that time in the world again when it comes to filing and buffing. So I have a glitter that was kind of hanging over the edge here. And now I'm just making sure I'm cleaning up underneath that nail here and just making sure everything is laying super, super flat before we move forward here. Once everything is laying flat, we're gonna go ahead and just fill in some of those bare areas as well with a little bit of dip base. And then we're just gonna hand place some more glitters here just to kind of tie everything together. And I'm just removing that bigger piece there that kind of was like hanging and overlapping in between Bronze Babe. So that's what I was doing there. And then we're just gonna throw on some more glitter here and then get into clear encapsulating. I'm also gonna go ahead and file and buff, and I am gonna use my e-file again today, which I know I touched base on in my last video, which is a complete game changer, especially when it comes to the press-ons. But before we get into clear encapsulating, I'm gonna use this little vacuum just to clean everything up. This is what we're working with here. I'm already falling in love with this set and these colors. They're just so fun. So I'm gonna do a very thin layer of that dip base here. I am gonna make sure when I am applying that dip base that I am working into all those areas that I might have any potential of not getting clear into it. I want to make sure I'm getting into like all those nooks and crannies because we are playing with those flakes and I do not want to risk cutting into them during filing and buffing. And then I am just going to keep that nail kind of just marinating in that clear powder just to make sure we are absorbing as much of that dip base as possible. And then I still am going to go ahead and press everything down because I still want to keep the shape of this short coffin here, and just pressing everything down just really helps me when it comes to keeping that shape, especially on those sidewalls areas right up there by that cuticle line. Those are my areas where I tend to bulk up a press on. So I will make sure that I focus on those areas and just make sure everything is laying super flat. So I'm going to finish up the rest of the clear encapsulation off camera, use that stiff nail brush to remove any extra clear powder that may be lingering. And then I am going to go in with the most satisfying part besides removing that color blocking tape. But the most satisfying part to me is just seeing these colors kind of come to life here with that activator. So I'm doing a thin layer of activator here. On the glitter nails, I am making sure that I'm pretty much oversaturating those nails just to make sure I am getting in between all those layers. And then once the activator is on, I'm going to go ahead and let that sit for 4 minutes. And then I am going to use my e-file at 2 RPMs. This is that amazing e-file that I was talking about in my last video. It doesn't stall out. I can use it at 2 RPMs. I can use it at 1 RPM. It's definitely a game changer, especially when you're making press-ons. I love it so much, and I'm using a mini micro sanding band, and that is the game changer right there, because when you're making press-ons, it's already on that little stand, so it can be hard to use an e-file when you're using a regular size sanding band, but this mini sanding band is a total game changer in combination with this nail drill. I just love it so much. So I am doing all my majority of my buffing and filing with this sanding band right here. I'm making sure everything is laying super flat. You can also use it to clean up underneath that press on as well, and you can use it to gently reshape if you prefer. But to just gently reshape everything, I'm just going to go in with my regular file here just to clean up that shape and just to make sure that everything is clean underneath that nail. And that is all I did for filing and buffing. I'm telling you, that e-file is a game changer, and I'm not one who is a professional or anything like that. I just do DIY nails at home, so I don't really have experience when it comes to an e-file besides what you're seeing right here. So I did the rest of the filing and buffing off camera, and now we're gonna go ahead and dust everything off. I always like to give the nails a good dust off before we go ahead and bring these nails back to life with a layer of activator. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to do a layer of activator on all of the nails here, and you can just see all the colors just coming through, and they are just beautiful than ever. And then once we go ahead and apply the activator, we're going to go ahead and right away apply this really fun nail sticker striping tape, which is also a game changer, because if you ever tried that nail sticker tape that's on a roll, it's super hard to find like where the tape begins, where the tape ends, and it doesn't really stick too well. These nail striping stickers on this sheet are super sticky, and you can definitely get them off the sheet with little to no effort. So what I'm going to do now is, now that we have the striping tape onto the nail here, I'm just going to take this little silicone tool and just make sure I am rubbing that sticker into the nail, making sure there's no air bubbles and everything is laying super flat. And then to clean up all that extra, I'm just going to go ahead and use a nail clipper that I use just for nail art and just trim that extra away here. And voila, you have the perfect nail accent color taping here, which was like no effort at all. You saw how easy that was. And then to seal everything in today, we're going to do a layer of that gel top coat on here. I am using gels. They are HEMA 21 free. Everything we are using in today's video can be found in that description box. I'm making sure I'm capping that free edge, and above that cuticle line, I'm curing for 30 seconds. And then we're going to go ahead and finish everything up today with a layer of gel top coat. So here's kind of where I had like a plot twist, or like an aha kind of moment. I was like, you know what, this would look so good matte, so why don't we just try it? So that is exactly what I did. I did a layer of that gel top coat on all the nails, cured for 60 seconds, and then I did a layer of matte top coat. Doing a layer of regular top coat first and curing is going to give you like the ultimate matte finish without any of that streakiness. And then here's the finished set. I mean, it screams fall, especially with that matte finish. It's more of like an autumn, I would say, because it's not your traditional kind of fall colors, but it still screams like rustic autumn nights. And I'm loving everything about this set. The matte finish definitely sealed it in for me. And I just loved how these powders performed. They were fantastic. Again, we used 2 coats today of each of these 3 colors. And I'm super impressed by the coverage that we got and the color payoff that we got with the 2 coats. Also, the glitters were very easy to work with. Definitely a must-have if you are looking for some new fun powders. This collection, you can get it in a collection, or you can get the powders individually, and you can grab whatever colors speak to you, but definitely a great addition to add to your collection, especially if you're looking for some new powders. All right, so everything that we did use in today's video can be found in that description box below. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you all in the next one.